Mobility is the key that grants us access to freedom of movement. By combining strength, flexibility, and coordination, we're able to link together individual moves and flow through transitions. Whatever your sport, mobility practice should be a regular part of your training. To get you started, here are 7 exercises you can practice anywhere. The bear crawl is the most basic form of animal locomotion and perfectly demonstrates our instinctive contralateral movement pattern. Start on all fours with your knees hovering just an inch above the ground. As you move your left hand forward, also move your right foot. Next, move the right hand along with the left foot. This motion of pairing opposite limbs is called contralateral movement and is how humans walk, run, or crawl. Continue this motion while keeping the knees just slightly above the ground. Use your toes to push forward, moving softly and silently. Keep your back flat and your hips square. The next movement is the orangutan. This is a lateral motion, meaning our bodies will move sideways, leading with the hands and following with the feet. Stand sideways against the direction you'll be moving. Lean down and set your hands on the outside of your feet. It's important to keep your hands as closely in line with your feet instead of placing them two in front. Once both hands are set, give a small hop and float your feet past your hands. Your feet should land on the outside of your hands. Shift your weight laterally, set your hands on the outside of your feet again, and repeat the process. Once you've completed one side, make sure to face the same direction when coming back. This will let you practice your other side. The spin is a fun move that you can practice in a small space. From a squat position, set your hands between your feet with the fingers pointing up and down. Your hands and feet should resemble a compass with hands on north and south and feet at east and west. From here, you'll take a small hop and float in a circular motion, spinning 180 degrees. Your body will only allow you to spin a certain direction based on the positioning of your hands. If you have left hand on top, you'll spin clockwise. Right hand on top, counterclockwise. If you try spinning in the other direction, your arms will twist into each other. It's important to take the weight into your shoulders as you get ready to hop. That gives you enough leverage to float. Lean into your hands, actively push, and keep your core tight. Let's now do our first combination. Perform 1 rep of the orangutan. Once the feet land past the hands, set the hands in between the feet and perform a spin. You'll now be facing the other direction and must do the next rep of the orangutan on your other side. Once the feet land, set the hands again and perform another spin. It doesn't really matter how you set your hands to spin, as both positions will make you rotate 180 degrees. However, for the sake of symmetry, alternate the placement of your hands with each spin. The lizard crawl is like an advanced version of bear, using the same contralateral movement of opposite hand and foot. Start on all fours, placing your left hand forward and moving up your right foot to around hip level. Make sure your toes are facing the outside and not forward. Sink down into the floor and push back up through the hands and foot. Reach the right hand forward and set the left foot down around hip level with toes facing outward. Sink down into the floor, push up, and repeat. You should experience a steady rhythm of sink, push, and reach. The second version of lizard requires you to remain low to the ground. Once you reach your hand and set the foot, you sink down and remain there for all future reaches. The challenge will be keeping your hips low. You'll need to add a twist in the hips each time you set a foot. The crab is a fun movement that will put your hip mobility to the test. This move can feel either super easy or quite challenging depending on how flexible you are. Start in a squat position with feet placed wider apart. Set both hands about 1 to 2 feet forward, add a small hop, and land with your feet outside and ahead of your hands. The main goal here is to bring your feet ahead of your hands. To help you do this, you need to compress your torso while keeping hips low. Don't be too concerned if you can't get your feet ahead of your hands right away. Your mobility will improve the more reps you do, and you may find your feet inching forward bit by bit towards your final movements. Handstand walks will offer a good challenge of mixing tension and balance, all while flipping your orientation. The purpose here is not to hold a handstand for as long as you can, but to momentarily hit that balance position before softly coming back down. The more repetitions will help you improve the timing of your kick-ups. The first variation involves landing on the foot that leaves the ground second. Start by taking a step forward as if setting up for a lunge. Lift your arms above you, keeping the head between the shoulders. Reach forward, setting the hands, and adding a small kick with the back leg. Visualize the hip floating up to be in line with the shoulders. Keep your second leg extended, forming an L with your first leg as it floats up above you. Let the weight of the second leg gently bring you back to the floor. Set both feet down, take a step with the same foot again, and repeat. The second variation involves a scissoring motion with the legs, causing you to land on the foot that you initially kicked up with. Set up in the same way as before, except this time, once your first leg goes above you, bring the second leg up and swap positions. You've now scissored your legs and will land on the first foot that left the ground. We save the best for last. The inchworm is the slowest and most strenuous of all the movements, testing your ability to both compress and expand. Stand with your feet hip distance apart and bend down into a forward fold, touching your hands to the floor. From here, walk your hands forward bit by bit, about 1 hand length per movement. Keep walking your hands until they are above your head and your arms are as stretched out as they can be. Now inch your feet up bit by bit until you're back in the forward fold position. Repeat the process. The challenge of this movement is to maintain tension with your body fully extended. The farther apart your hands and feet are, the harder it will be to keep your body from touching the floor. Be conservative on your first rep or two, gradually building up to a deeper compression and longer extension throughout your set. This exercise was a popular one from the home workout video I posted last month. You can alter it here to accommodate for a slightly bigger space. Make sure you're fully warmed up before going into these. To get a step-by-step progression of this move, check out the home workout video here. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and hopefully you leave with some ideas and inspiration for your practice. Please continue to stay safe, healthy, and optimistic during our time apart. Until next time, move better, climb harder.